Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review episode 6 of season 2 of Twenties. This episode was called Epiphany, and I was doing this the entire time because I was getting hot and bothered from all these lovely scenes. We start off with Nia, I guess, recording herself. I don't know if she was doing a live, she was just recording herself. She's just in her own little world, and she ends up dropping her phone, and so Big Sean, aka Tristan, sees her and has a conversation with her. I'm not gonna lie, he is kind of cute in this role. You know, when I first saw him, I was just kind of like, yeah, because I don't like rappers, so I didn't really see it for him. But I think his character is cute. Him and Nia speak about her career, how well she's doing, and he spoke about the whole phone situation and how when he didn't have a phone it was a selfish decision, and how now with having the phone and social media he uses it to spread light and positivity. And so I'm not sure if this was revealed before, but Nia reveals that her parents or her family doesn't really support her career as an actress. I don't remember them bringing this up before. I honestly don't even remember Nia mentioning her parents, but I guess they don't support her. And that comes up later on when her sister pops up. I think that's later on, let me think. Yeah, that's later on. So I think that's just kind of weird, especially since she's on this TV show. And maybe, you know, obviously it doesn't seem like it's a good TV show, but she made it to TV. So I don't understand why they still have an issue with her being an actress. Like, I know it's not the end all be all, you know, she could be on the show and never work again, but it's like she made it to this point, so why don't you just support her? Tristan invites her to a hike, which is cool, and he says something, well, she's like, well, are you gonna ghost me again? He's like, I'll never ghost you again, blase blase. So then we have Hattie bumps into Idina at the weed shop. I don't know the technical name of these stores, but weed shop. Hattie asks Idina on a date. Ooh. I was kind of surprised, but not really. I don't know, I guess I was surprised because I guess we were working our way to this, and I guess just for me, maybe because Hattie hasn't mentioned anything about Idina or possibly having feelings for her or wanting to go on a date with her, I didn't see it, but you could kind of see it in their conversations and their looks and stuff. So I think that was actually a better way of conveying that Hattie was starting to grow feelings for Idina through their deep conversations. So, and what I liked about Idina's response is that, you know, she's kind of like, well, you know, don't think that you're just gonna treat me like a toy or treat me as a backup plan maybe to Ida, because Ida's not working out and now you're coming to me, and then maybe when Ida starts acting right you're just gonna throw me away like a toy. At first Idina was hesitant and I was like, girl, like, you've been having feelings for Hattie for a while, like what are you doing? But I think it was very like a mature approach to Hattie asking her out on a date, because just because she has feelings for Hattie doesn't mean that she's just gonna, you know, accept the date and say, oh yes. I mean, she's not that desperate. Even if she has feelings, she's also an adult and she wants to be treated right. So I liked how she handled that and how Hattie handled it. We see Tristan and Nia on this hike, and Nia is just on her phone, obsessed with these comments. At first I was just like, girl, just put your phone in your little fanny pack and enjoy the hike. But she's looking at negative comments about her character on this show. It starts off with like just little nasty comments, and then it goes into people feeling like her character is offensive. But honestly, the whole show seems offensive. It just seems over the top, so I don't understand why they would only have an issue with her. I would think that the audience or whoever would have an issue with the entire show. And so she vents, or, you know, she talks with Tristan about this, and he's basically like, you know, if you feed into these negative comments, they're just gonna grow. And I do think that's true. you know, because sometimes people really just are critiquing you. Some people probably do feel like the character is offensive, but some people are assholes, and the more you respond to their comments, the more they're going to make them. They're like, oh, okay, I got a response from. I mean, I will say that sometimes I've seen and I've heard celebrities say, like, you know, you'll have these negative comments, they'll respond to it, and then the person will say, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm a big fan. But then some people, they continue to leave bad comments if they know you're going to respond. And but I don't understand personally, but I understand why Nia would be upset at the comments of, you know, people saying that her character is offensive. That really like forces her to kind of look at herself and the choices that she's making as an actress. Like, do you want to continue to play this offensive character? If you think the character is offensive, do you want to continue to play this character to make money even though you think it's offensive and other people think it's offensive? Or do you want to possibly, you know, audition for something else that might not be as popular, but it's also not offensive, but you're also not making money on it? I don't know, but I'm sure that will come up later on. And I guess she didn't really like what Tristan was saying, because he's just like, you are ruining the vibe. You know, like, we can either continue and we have a nice, positive, joyful walk, hike, whatever, or I can take you back to your car, take you home. She's like, take me home. I'm like, oh. So then we're introduced to Nia's sister, Vanessa, played by, I don't know her name. What's her name? Her sister's played by Nia Javier. I don't know if I'm saying that right. She played Kelsey on Dear White People. That's where I recognized her from. But something looks different about her. I don't know what it is. Of course, Kelsey, if you've ever seen her character, she's so over the top on Dear White People. She's funny though. So basically, there were flowers from Ben on Nia's doorstep, and it was funny because Nia basically described Ben the way that I've been seeing him this entire time: corny and having a weird obsession with making happy movies. I think she said making movies that everyone likes. He's annoying. He's just annoying. So basically, Vanessa was sent up, down, whatever, backwards, forward to Nia from her family to talk some sense in her about her career. And like I said earlier, they don't support her acting career. They want her to be a respectable woman, get married. Like, I don't. And all that BS that I'm not trying to hear, and obviously Nia's not trying to hear. And so they end up having a conversation about that later on. But so then, like, of course, she just bogards and says that she's going to stay a while. So of course that kicks Hattie out. And so of course she goes right on down to Lauren's place. But then they go back to Nia's place, and so it's Nia, Marie, Hattie, and Vanessa talking about relationships, marriage, soulmates. And so basically, Vanessa doesn't feel like soulmates are real. And she defined it as basically a perfect person, but like, oh, your friend and passion and the family likes them and blah 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 blah. And I don't feel like that's a soulmate. And that comes up later on with Idina, but I don't feel like it's like the perfect person, even though I think that we all have like a perfect person in mind. We have this list of, I want them to be this, that, and the third. And I feel like it's possible to find that person. It's just that you're not going to have those perfect moments every day. And I don't think a lot of people want that or expect that. But with Vanessa, we don't know everything about her relationship, but it seems like she may have settled just so she can get married, and maybe I feel like she's settling in her relationship and settling in her career path. It makes her family happy, it looks good on paper, and it's just the status quo. She has said something like, you need somebody you can depend on as a solid teammate. Well, that can be a part of a soulmate too. And then Nia said, I don't want anybody to depend on. And then something about, I don't want to get stuck in a boring marriage like you. And Vanessa said, well, at least I'm stuck in something. I was like, what? it's funny because when I was listening to her talk, I just kind of feel like there are definitely a lot of millennials who feel the way that Vanessa does, but I feel like there's way more millennials who feel the way that Nia does. Like, maybe I'm wrong, I just think statistically, like, I'm a millennial, so we're not getting married at the same rate that, like, especially boomers and then Gen Xers are. So we're waiting later. I think we still having babies, but we're waiting later. We're focusing on career. We're also focusing on, like, a career in something we're passionate about, especially since COVID hit. So that it's just funny seeing the difference between her and her sister, and they seem like they're close in age, so they definitely have different outlooks on life. So then we see Marie at her place. She's calling for Chuck, but he's not there. But that red lipstick looked really good on her. I just was like focused on the red lip. But Chuck is out. I wasn't sure if he was like meeting somebody, and I didn't realize he was at a gay bar. I don't know. My gaydar is down here, probably because I don't be thinking about stuff like that. But so this guy is at the bar and he's giving Chuck the eyes. He goes to him, starts talking to him. His name is Jason. Let me tell you something. Jason he just exuded sex. I was just like, oof. This was like my first time blushing. I was like, oof, he's fine. And he was just like, I was like, oof, Chuck, you better jump on that. But, you know, they were kind of flirting, but through their little analogies and stuff, it felt like Chuck wasn't ready to do anything at that moment. And this was his first time at a gay bar. I guess it looked like it. I would not, if it was my first time anywhere, I would not just be sitting at a table just staring at everybody. I would be at the bar. That's where you talk to people, you know? Like, I just got here and I met somebody at the bar. Not like that, but you go to the bar, that's where you have conversations with people. So who knows, maybe Jason will pop up again, because he asked about, like, okay, you don't want to do anything now, but what about the future? And Chuck said maybe. Where's his friend? I thought his friend was gonna pop up. So then we get Tristan popping up at Nia's place with the ultimate no. He did not call or contact her before he got there. Like, I guess, you know, he hasn't had a phone in forever, so he doesn't know protocol when dealing with really people in general, but definitely a woman. But so then he speaks with Nia, and he apologized for being brutally honest. I didn't really feel like he was brutal. Like, if anything, I mean, he was giving her advice, and he was telling her, if you keep on feeding into this, you know, more negative comments will come. But like she said, which I thought was really good, and I didn't pick this up, was that his social media experience is different than hers, and the fact that he is first of all, I don't know what he does, but he's in this positive, you know, light. He's in this positive position where, I don't know if it's because he's pushing out positivity and he's getting it. So he's receiving different comments than Nia is. And it's not, you're going to argue that, is Nia pushing negativity? I don't think she's pushing negativity, because I feel like even if she wasn't playing an offensive character, she would still have to deal with negativity. And so she doesn't deserve that. But she had to tell him, you know, I'm dealing with negative comments, you're not, so it's going to affect me different, which I agree with her. But, well, I felt like she should apologize to him for being on her phone the entire time. They were supposed to be enjoying a hike and she was on the phone. You don't need to be on your phone. It's not like people are calling you or texting you, they're leaving comments. Put the phone in the backpack, fanny pack away, whatever, and enjoy the hike. And she asked him to put himself into her shoes, which he said he will do. I like them together. So now we get to the best part of the episode with Hattie and Idina on a date. And first it starts off like, Hattie's like, how did you get into writing? Idina's like, look, this sounds like a job interview. I thought that was funny. But she's like, Idina's like, let's ask weird questions. And so, buzz. But Hattie asked Idina, what do you wish you weren't good at? And Idina said, giving good advice, because everybody just spills all their issues on me. And then I try to solve their issues, but I don't solve mine. Hattie was like, well, if that's an issue, then you need to start going to people for your problems. Do as they have done to you and ask for help, stuff like that. But obviously Idina has issues with that. She can help others with their issues, but not herself. And it's funny because I can relate to this to an extent. I think what I'm good at is listening to people and being patient. I'm not good at giving advice. I hate when people come to me about advice. I'm not good with advice for the most part. So I'm good with sitting there and listening. Like, I almost feel like I'm like that character. I feel like some sitcoms do this where it's like somebody will go to a character with their issues and they'll just talk their ear off, talk, and the other character will not say anything. And the characters that's talking will get up and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I talked to you. You're right, I should do this. And then they'll just leave and the other character is just sitting there like they haven't said a word. And I'm like, I'm that person. And sometimes I feel as though that's something that I wish I wasn't good at. Like, I do feel like we need more listeners in the world. Like, people just talk. People are arrogant as hell. I don't know. Most people that I come across, they just talk. People will talk your ear off and won't ask you anything about yourself. And that's why it's up to you to exert yourself. Like, I don't know if I said that right. Exert yourself and talk about yourself. Butt in and say hello. And sometimes you gotta cut people off if they're so used to just spilling everything, because it's not always a bad thing, but if you're not getting anything out of it, you need to cut it off. And that's what I've been doing. But anyway, so then Hattie brings up the whole soulmate conversation. She asks Idina, there I go. Why do they have to have similar names? Hattie asks Idina if she believes in soulmates, because Vanessa says soulmates aren't real, and Idina's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I believe in it. Having a soulmate and having a good relationship, marriage, whatever, doesn't consist of having passion every day and having good days every day. It's a mix of good and bad days. It's a mix of passion and boredom. And she gave her parents as an example. And I think Patty had said something like, I need passion every day. It's like, that's too much. Like, that's a lot to have passion every day. No matter if it's sex, if it's like going on an adventure, going out to have fun, like that's too much. That's too much for me. I don't care. Idina said something like, you can't run when the going gets tough with anything, but especially a relationship. And so I thought that was a really good scene, and it definitely made me appreciate the show a little bit more. I love the way it was shot, but I love the conversation. I just think that conversation was great, as well as the conversation between Nia and Tristan. So then I thought it ended because we start to see real photos of Black queer women together. I thought those photos were beautiful. And then we see little Miss Hattie and Idina in the bed together. Basically, they share a passionate kiss. I was like, whoa, again, I'm just like this. And so, well, maybe I'm forgetting some stuff, but I kind of feel like Hattie had that mindset of like, well, what do we do now? It's just like, you kiss, you have sex. So I thought that was cool. And someone in my comments recently posted about like the lack of intimacy or intimate scenes between Hattie and Ida. And I was wondering that as well. Like, we saw them kissing on the last episode, the finale of season 1, and then we kind of got that weird season opener for season 2, but we haven't really seen too much intimacy, and this is the most intimacy we've seen, especially in this season, but like good intimacy, because we saw Marie having sex with Chuck, but it wasn't good sex, so she had to think about Quintrell. So I don't know. I mean, I really like this scene. I really like this episode. Hopefully Hattie doesn't treat Idina like a toy, because right now Idina is like the best for her compared to Ida. Like last episode I was like, she is the best for Hattie, but I was like, if Hattie doesn't like her, then she doesn't like her. But she finally took a chance, and hopefully it ends well. But this is Hattie we're talking about. I'm sure there's going to be drama, because we need drama for a show. Ben, we need drama. And it's funny because I was recently talking to somebody. I finished watching season 2 of Love Life on HBO with William Jackson Harper. He's the protagonist in this show, Love Life, the season 2 of Love Life. Season 1 stars Anna Kendrick. It's about, her character. But season 2 is about this guy named Marcus Watkins. But when I had suggested it to somebody and they loved it. And I had brought up how in Twenties they've been talking about Black trauma and how we don't want to see that, and how I don't feel like there's nuance in what Ben was saying. I think there's more nuance in what Marie was stating, and I was just thinking about how that show, it does, to me, a good job of like balancing drama, Black drama, or drama between Black families or Black young Black people, without there being like traumatic elements. And then there's also positivity without spoiling too much from the show. But that's like a good balance of everything without it just being happy. So yeah, so I like this episode a lot. It's probably one of my favorite episodes. So I don't know what's to come. Another thing I didn't bring up is that Hattie had asked Marie if she was ready to get married, and I think Marie said yes, but of course she had kind of like that expression like maybe not so much. I don't know if her and Chuck are going to have that conversation again about their like marriage and that timeline, because it just felt like Chuck was rushing into things, and then they spoke to the marriage counselor and then he came out as bi, and then they decided to open. I don't know if there's like a pause on their marriage right now, like getting married. No, they didn't get married. Yeah, if there's a pause on them getting married or not. I like them to talk about that because I don't know what's going on. But yeah, if you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe, and look forward to my review of episode 7 of season 2 of 20s. Thanks for watching.